Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Pro Wrestling Talk, brought to you by Blitzfall Champ Gaming. I'm your host, Jason Ingram, coming at you once again here on the U to the Tube. So, I'm going to go over and give my thoughts on yesterday's AEW All Out pay-per-view. Wowzers. This pretty much is one of the best pay-per-views. Period. One of the best pay-per-views. Let's dive into this. So, starting out, the buy-in was a 10-man tag team match. It was Best Friends and Jurassic Express. So, best friends of Chuck Taylor, Orange Cassidy, Wheeler Yuta, and Jurassic Express's Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, going up against Matt Hardy, both members of Private Party, and both members of the Hybrid 2. Of course, starting out, Matt Hardy wanted Orange Cassidy so badly because, Orange Cassidy lately has gotten the best of Matt Hardy. And of course, everybody seemed to be scared to take on Luchasaurus, which is typical. But this was actually a pretty dang on good pre-show match. I mean, everybody got to see a lot of offense. It was back and forth. And it was a really good warm-up match to get everybody psyched and ready for All Out. And of course, the Jurassic Express and Best Friends end up getting the victory with Jungle Boy hitting the snare trap on Angelico. So made him tap out. But yeah, that was actually a good pre-show match. And not only that, afterwards, the Butcher returned. Yes, that's right. And joined in on a post-match beatdown. But yeah, so the Butcher is back. If I remember correctly, the Butcher had been out. I don't think he was injured. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but he's also in a rock band, if I remember correctly. So I think he might have been touring with them. But if somebody know if he was injured or not, let me know. But I know he's part of a rock band as well, so he could have been doing some commitments there. But it's good to see the Butcher is back. So now the Butcher Blade and the Bunny can officially reunite. So good to see him back. So the main card opened up with the TNT Championship on the line as Miro defended against Eddie Kingston. Now, of course, this was a very hard-hitting match, back and forth, but, Eddie Kingston took some shots that made him a little bit loopy. But this was good, and I couldn't help but realize that Eddie Kingston made his entrance while wearing the Redeem D's Nuts shirt. So I thought that was pretty funny. There was even the crowd that did a chant for that during the match. So I thought that was pretty funny. Miro tried to get Eddie Kingston to tap out to the game over, but Eddie Kingston was able to actually make it to the rope. Now, of course, Miro didn't have it wrenched back like he usually does the last couple of times he's done the game over. But while it looked like Eddie Kingston was about to gain the upper hand, he pushed Miro into the ref in the corner. And of course, Miro hit a low blow. He hit a low blow, and then he hit another jumping pump kick, or back in WWE it was the Machka kick, and was able to pin Eddie Kingston to retain the TNT Championship. I was a little bit surprised. I honestly thought Eddie Kingston was probably going to do it, but the reign of the Redeemer continues. So, Miro, still your TNT champion. But this was a good match. This was definitely a good match. Very hard hitting on both ends. All right, next up, you had Jon Moxley taking on Satoshi Kojima. Of course, this was another good match. Satoshi Kojima is another legend. And these two definitely went at it. I mean, got the chops, you got the lariats, you just got these two hitting each other with everything they've got. But after two paradigm shifts, Moxley was able to get the victory, 1, 2, 3, and defeat Satoshi Kojima. Of course, he bowed to him afterwards, showing a sign of respect. So he's beaten Yuji Nagata and Satoshi Kojima. But, oh, the first big surprise appeared after this match when the King, Minoru Suzuki, entered to confront and face off with Jon Moxley. And it was so cool to hear the crowd into it and to hear the crowd actually saying, Kaze Ninare. Haven't heard that in a long time. Because, in New Japan, pro wrestling, with the pandemic and everything, they didn't allow cheering. You could only clap. So it was really good to hear a live crowd actually say that as part of his entrance theme. Now, of course, they stood face to face, exchanged some strikes. Of course, Minoru Suzuki held his own, was able to stun Jon Moxley. Not only that, put him to sleep, and then hit him with a Gotch-style pile driver. Just, it's so great to see Minoru Suzuki on U.S. soil. And not only that, it was also announced for Jon Moxley's homecoming this Wednesday on Dynamite, he will be going up against Minoru Suzuki in an official match. So, AEW just pulling out all the stops. This is awesome. But, great segment there. Very great segment. Alright, next up we had the AEW Women's World Championship match. Had Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, defend the title against Chris Statlander. Now, I have to say, this was actually a really great match. Chris Statlander definitely showing that she deserved to be in this match. Because you also have to remember, Chris Statlander, ever since her return from injury, she has been undefeated. And not only that, but just in her AEW career, she hasn't really lost many matches. So she's definitely shown that she's earned the spot to be in this match. And like I said, it was a great match. It was back and forth. Chris Statlander definitely, showing a lot of heart and resilience. But unfortunately, she did eventually tap out to the lockjaw. Although I did think it was pretty cool to show not only Britt Baker did the curb stomp, but also did a Panama Sunrise, just like her man, Adam Cole baby, does all the time on NXT. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, successfully retains the championship, making Chris Statlander submit to the lockjaw. Wow, so that's 3 big names Britt Baker has submitted. Hikaru Shida to win the title. Nyla Rose. And Chris Statlander. I mean, I can't really say Red Velvet because she's not as big and as well established as Shida and Rose and Statlander. But still, that's 3 successful title defenses so far for Britt Baker. So she's definitely showing that she's going to have that title for a while. I expect her to go into 2022 with the title. Next up, I can tell you right now, is match of the year candidate. Easily. The AEW Tag Team Championship Steel Cage match. The Young Bucks defending against the Lucha Bros. Lucha Bros had a special entrance where the rapper that raps to their theme song actually did a live performance of the Lucha Brothers theme. And I mean, it was just awesome. Of course, Lucha Bros came out with new gear, fancy headdresses, just styling and profiling. And of course, the Young Bucks came down with the rest of the Elite minus Kenny Omega. But wow, it's already incredible the chemistry these two teams have in a normal match. But this steel cage match, I can tell you right here, right now, this goes on a list of greatest tag team matches of all time. Like, these two teams tore each other apart. There were all sorts of crazy spots. Rey Fenix even dove off the top of the cage. We saw masks being ripped. We even saw a Nike, or it was a Nike or a Jordan shoe with a whole bunch of thumbtacks on the bottom of the shoe where the Young Bucks used it during a super kick. Not only that, mashed Penta's face into it. And of course, the Lucha Bros used that shoe as well. But I mean, this was crazy. Lucha Bros were all bloodied up, partially torn masks and all. And it was crazy. But sure enough, the Lucha Bros, with one last ditch effort, was able to hit their signature double team, or excuse me, finisher double team, and was able to pin the Young Bucks and become the new AEW World Tag Team Champions for the first time. The era of the Lucha Brothers has now begun. And I actually was, as much as I love the Young Bucks, I was really hoping the Lucha Bros would win this match. And I tell you, match of the year. Hands down, match of the year quality. Hands down, deserves to belong on a list of greatest tag team matches of all time. And, of course, afterwards, Lucha Bros got to celebrate with their family, so I thought that was really cool. But yeah, what a moment for the Lucha Brothers. Salute to y'all, because that was an excellent match. And also salute to the Young Bucks. I mean, these two teams have such excellent chemistry together. Lucha Brothers versus Young Bucks will never get old. Ever. Ever. Okay. Next up, we had the Women's Casino Battle Royal. So, they had this split up in different card suits. So, I'll go over the ladies for each suit. So, first suit that came out was the clubs. Club was Hikaru Shida, Sky Blue, Emi Sakura, the Bunny, and Abaddon. Okay, and then after 2 minutes, the next suit would come in. So that's the clubs. The next suit that came in was the Diamonds, which is Anna Jay, Kiera Hogan, Kylan King, Diamante, and Nyla Rose. So that was the Diamonds. Next were the Hearts. The Hearts were Thunder Rosa, Penelope Ford, Riho, Jamie Hayter, Big Swole. So those are the Hearts. And then we had the Spades afterwards, which was Ty Conti, Red Velvet, Legit Layla Hirsch, Jade Cargill, and Rebel. And then the Joker. The Joker is always last. The Joker turned out to be Ruby Soho, aka Ruby Riot, aka Heidi Lovelace, however you want to call her. Ruby Soho was the Joker, and she got such a huge pop. Such a huge pop. The Chicago crowd was loving it. And she looked great. She looked great. And sure enough, the last three were pretty much came down to Nyla Rose, Thunder Rosa, and Ruby Soho. And then they were able to get rid of Nyla Rose. And then it came down to Ruby Soho and Thunder Rosa. And this was really, really back and forth. We had no idea who was going to end up winning this whole thing. But sure enough, it took a riot kick from Ruby Soho to drop Thunder Rosa. They were battling outside on the apron, but that made her drop Thunder Rosa and Ruby Soho. The first time the Joker has won. If I remember correctly, that's the first time the Joker has won. Ruby Soho wins the Casino Battle Royale, which means she gets a future title shot. Which, if you ask me, she's probably going to get that title shot at Full Gear in November. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking she's going to get that title shot at Full Gear. It makes sense to me. But congratulations to Ruby Soho. What a great debut. Great debut. Next up, we had MJF versus Chris Jericho. Oh man, this was very entertaining. So MJF trolls everybody by doing the Y2J countdown. Lights went off. Jericho's last match. And then it played MJF's theme. And I was just like, oh, you got me. You got me. You definitely got me. And then they had the guitarist from Fozzy play Judas for Chris Jericho's entrance. So that was extra special. The only thing was it was a little too loud that, couldn't really hear the fans sing the theme. But still, that was nice that they had another member of Fozzy there doing Jericho's entrance. So that was really cool. Of course, in this match, it was back and forth. I mean, these two definitely tell a good story every time they're in the ring against each other. Now, at first, MJF was able to get the pin on Jericho. The only thing is, Jericho got his foot on the ropes. This was MJF hit a Judas effect, so stole Jericho's move, hit him with a Judas effect, fell down close to the ropes, went for the cover, 1, 2, 3. Aubrey made the count, but didn't see Chris Jericho's foot on the rope. So she made the 3 count and declared MJF the winner. But one of the other referees came down and told Aubrey, like, no, I was sitting right here, and as you were counting, before you got to 3, Jericho's foot got on the rope. So, of course, Aubrey relayed that to the announcer, to Justin Roberts, and then he announced that because Chris Jericho's foot was on the ropes before the count of 3, this match will be restarted. So they did restart the match, and there was a moment that Jericho got locked into the salt of the earth, but was able to eventually break out of it and locked in the walls of Jericho. This was his second attempt at the walls of Jericho, aka Lion Tamer. And this time he was able to lock it in, and MJF almost got to the ropes, but Jericho pulled him back to the middle, and he actually made MJF tap out. So Chris Jericho gets the submission victory, therefore his wrestling career continues in AEW. So, wow, fourth time was the charm, I guess, for Jericho. And it looks like this rivalry is far from over. Especially, if with him getting this victory. So, yeah, his wrestling career continues. I can dig it. Not what I predicted, but hey, I have no problem with more Chris Jericho. No problem at all. Next up, we had CM Punk versus Darby Allin. Very, very much anticipated match. It started out a little slow, which I kind of understand. Y'all have to remember, this was CM Punk's first match in 7 years. 7 years. So, you got to understand, they had to give a feeling out. They had to, warm up, set the tone, which I think they did a good job on. Had some chain wrestling there. Had some holds. This was good. I'm not gonna say it was an excellent match, but I'll say it was a good match. It was a pretty good match between these two. Darby Allin really took it to the limit, even hitting a suicide dive on CM Punk and just bringing it, just really bringing it. Almost pinned him with the Last Supper, but he was able to kick out of it. But sure enough, it took 2 GTSs, which the first one knocked Darby Allin out of the ring, but the second one he caught it in a mid reversal and was able to hit it on Darby Allin and get the victory. 1, 2, 3. So CM Punk in his debut match, first match in 7 years, and he picks up a big victory over Darby Allin. Now, I know a lot of folks are saying that Darby should have won. CM Punk shouldn't have won this match. I can see both sides of it, honestly. But, I mean, there was no way they were going to have CM Punk lose in Chicago on a pay-per-view. His first match in 7 years. They weren't going to let him lose. That's just the way it is. They weren't going to let him lose. And of course, afterwards, CM Punk with the handshake to Sting, handshake to Darby Allin, showing respect. Great, good match. Good match. I'm not going to say it was excellent, but it was a good match. It was definitely a good match. Okay. Next, we have Paul White versus QT Marshall, which I really didn't care that much about this match, but it pretty much ended in a squash. It was pretty much a squash. Was not a long match at all. Paul White was able to get the victory. I think that was just, one of my friends was saying this was pretty much a cool down match, which makes sense. I wouldn't have put it this late on the card. I would have put it as maybe like the third match or something like that. But, I mean, hey, like he said, it was a cool down match. It was a cool down match, so. And then, the main event. The AEW World Championship. Kenny Omega defends against the Impact Wrestling World Champion, Christian Cage. Now, of course, these two had a great first match before when Christian Cage got the victory. And it just shows that these two have great chemistry. This was back and forth. And, it was just really, really good to see these two go at it again. And sure enough, it took an avalanche, one-winged angel, to put away Christian Cage. And Kenny Omega, still your AEW World Champion. Which, like I said, I expected that to happen. There are some folks that were going for Christian Cage, but nah, they're not just going to make him a double champion just like that. And this doesn't hurt him. This is only his first loss on AEW soil. So, this barely even scratches him. And then after the match, as the Elite started to do a post-match beatdown, Kenny Omega got on the mic, and then the lights went out, and Adam Cole's graphic appears on the screen. His music plays. Out comes Adam Cole. Baby! He comes down to the ring. Of course, crowd is going wild. He gets in. He comes face to face with Kenny Omega. He's like, yeah, I haven't forgotten what you did to me. Yeah, I haven't forgotten what you did to me. And then super kicks. I believe he super kicked Jack Jungle Boy, because the rest of the Jurassic Express tried to come down to even the odds with the Elite. But yeah, Adam Cole super kicked him and then embraced Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks even did the double cheek kiss. And yeah, so Adam Cole is back with the Elite. You got to remember, Adam Cole was a former member of Bullet Club back in ROH. And of course, he has a lot of chemistry teaming up with the Young Bucks. So this is perfect. Adam Cole rejoins the Elite, proceed to also join in the beatdown, and then, out of nowhere, a version of the Flight of the Valkyries plays, and out comes the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. Comes down to the ring and helps fight off the Elite, and stands tall with Christian and Jurassic Express. But wow. And even Daniel Bryan got in on the action and even gave a running high knee. Wow. So Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon. So two big back-to-back surprises there. Adam Cole joining the Elite. And then Bryan Danielson. I need to get back used to saying the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, right afterwards. And both have been confirmed as All Elite. So, wow. This definitely one of the best pay-per-views. AEW, Tony Khan, for sure, went all out with this pay-per-view. I mean, you got all sorts of surprises and returns. Returning Anna Jay, first match, returning for Anna Jay. Ruby Soho makes her AEW debut. The Butcher, during the pre-show, the Butcher makes his return. You have Adam Cole. You have Bryan Danielson. You even have Minoru Suzuki. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot. AEW All Out 2021 made 2021 SummerSlam look like a house show. And I mean that with all of my heart. This made SummerSlam look like a house show. And then Vince and many other WWE marks and such out there still thinking AEW ain't competition? Think again. Think again. I understand WWE has been long, well more established than AEW, but don't sit there and act like AEW ain't catching up. Because y'all got to remember, the product, regardless of whether it's been catering to casuals and kids and whatever, the product has been flopping more and more. And especially to the point where Fox and USA have been showing their disappointment. The evidence is there. And it looks like more and more WWE may be getting prepped for it to be sold. I mean, NXT is already getting ready to to become crap with Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon producing the show now and that new kitty looking logo. They haven't been doing a good job of correctly booking talent, especially on the main roster. Raw has been trashed for only God knows long. Only God knows how long. You know, SmackDown is hit or miss. NXT, hit or miss. And that was why I was saying NXT TakeOver 36 might be the last great takeover that we see. Not to mention, word is that Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa might be under hot water as far as potentially getting released once this rebranded NXT begins. Yeah, AEW is clearly competition. Let me ask y'all something. When was the last time, somebody educate me, when was the last time a WWE event that wasn't WrestleMania sold out? Not only sold out, but sold out in less than a couple of hours. Somebody educate me on that. But, yeah. And I'm not saying that I hate WWE. There's still many, many wrestlers that I support that are on WWE. Because for me, it's not so much specifically the promotion, but also those wrestlers that I support. Because there's many that I support. Even if they're on promotions where they're unhappy. But let's not kid ourselves. WWE needs to do better. Their product has been washed down. They need to do better. Or else give it another year or two and AEW is going to really seriously put them to shame. They've already started. So if you're one of those out there that truly, honestly, don't think AEW is competition now, you're lying to yourselves. Sorry, not sorry, but you're lying to yourselves. And you know you are. Anyway, that's it for this review. But like I said, I definitely enjoyed this pay-per-view. One of the best. And I can't wait to see how they follow up. It's going to be hard to follow up. Especially as they begin the road to Full Gear. It'll be interesting to see how they follow up. And even then, it'll be interesting to see how WWE follows up. Because I'm willing to bet money Extreme Rules, which is their next pay-per-view, ain't going to be anywhere near as good as All Out. Prove me wrong. Like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Let me know what y'all thought of AEW All Out 2021. Did you like the matches? Did you like the surprises? What didn't you like? Let me know. Let's chat. Anyway, this has been another episode of Pro Wrestling Talk. I'm Blitzball Champ of Blitzball Champ Gaming. Hope everybody has a blessed day. Happy Labor Day. I will see y'all soon.